Part 1 of Super Saturday done, and if you don't want to know the score, then please look away because I'm about to reveal it. And a congratulations to Italy. And yeah, maybe one of the highlights from Wales' point of view was just how good their fans always are and were again. Taking a wooden spoon in their stride. Wales have the wooden spoon. Now, whichever way you define what a wooden spoon is, because there has been some disagreement, I've discussed it on this channel. Back in the day in the Five Nations era, and still in France now, a wooden spoon means you lose every single one of your matches. Other people just regard the wooden spoon as finishing bottom of the table. That's what it has come to mean. Whichever way you slice and dice it, Wales have the wooden spoon. But I don't just want to be negative about Wales for a second. I think there's far more actually juice to be squeezed out of the lemon by just being positive about Italy, who have just completed their best ever Six Nations with 2 victories and a draw. And they could have had more as well. Bearing in mind where they were only a few months ago at the Rugby World Cup, getting panned by France and by New Zealand by 60 and 90 points respectively. It is remarkable where they are at, and congratulations to Italy. And while we're talking things that need to be celebrated, let's just take a moment to celebrate the career of George North. What an absolutely incredible servant he has been to Wales, to rugby in general. Brilliant bloke, great ambassador for the sport, and a career that came to an end in a way that probably George North deserved better than that. At times the Welsh performance was abject, and it's kind of symbolic actually when you look at the Wales centre pairing. George North had to be taken off injured towards the end, battered, bruised, had to be dragged off because he left everything out there on the pitch. Nick Tompkins had a bit of a shocker, and well, when you compare that to Italy's pair of centres, Italy's centres, they were absolutely talismanic. Everything great about Italy came through those particular guys and is wrapped up in those guys. Massive defensive energy, and when they got a sniff of an opportunity, they just worked their nuts off and executed. And these two have been absolutely amazing throughout the Six Nations. They are both on the radar for player of the tournament. Only one Italian player has ever won player of the Six Nations. These two are both on the radar. Tommaso Menoncello is just, what a player. I mean, I mentioned the Rugby World Cup and how bad Italy were there. Menoncello was not at the Rugby World Cup. Clearly, he's the difference. He's worth about 100 points, evidently. But Brex, his second man of the match performance in a row, he was absolutely immense as well today. So yeah, the two centre pairings kind of sum it up. But let's actually get stuck into the game. Please get stuck into the comments down below. Your thoughts on the game, your immediate reaction. This is me game's just finished and I'm just hitting record and instant reflections. That's the whole point of this video. So the match, when you look at it, I mean, 2 great anthems. The atmosphere felt really good. The whole George North moment, you thought that might take Wales to an emotional place where they'd be able to go to the well and pull out a big performance. But the game started and it was just one-way traffic. Italy dominating the collision areas, dominating territory, putting the squeeze on Wales. A penalty from Garbisi. And when you saw the ball stay on the tee for Garbisi, you thought, right, Wales are in trouble. Italy absorbed everything Wales had and then gave it back at them. Kick, pressure, chase. And then when they got the chance, delivered with a fantastic try. A great break. Menoncello involved a couple of times. Garbisi all pulling the strings. And then Ioane finishing brilliantly. They were 6-0 up at that point. 11-0, that made it. I mean, Garbisi missed a shocking conversion after that, in fair. Just one thing on the try. Did Nick Tompkins take a dive? It looked like a bit of a footballer's dive there, but maybe I missaw that. Anyway, it was great attack from Italy. Yeah, Italy were getting scrum penalties. 3 of them in the first half against Wales. Wales's first good attack, Michele Lamaro, was there with a turnover. So many massive defensive moments from an Italian perspective. And you felt at half-time, Wales going in with a big fat 0. You felt they got bageled in the first half, and you felt that, well, Italy probably should have been further ahead, and that might give Wales a sniff. Now, out of the 5 matches in the Six Nations, so that's 10 halves of rugby, Wales have been nilled in 4 of them. Gives you a sense at the issues Wales have got with some of their basics. And like I say, I mentioned Nick Tompkins. He was not alone in having a very poor game, and that's because there wasn't any direction. There wasn't any focal point to really anything. Anyway, second half began, and you thought, okay, can Wales do what they did against Scotland and let rip? Sam Warburton said at half-time, I made a note of this, he said, if I were Welsh coach, I'd love this, because you find out who the big game players are. I wonder how many Welshmen were sat there thinking, I wish you were the coach, Sam. Maybe one day. Anyway, Wales changed their tactics up a little bit, a few more contestable kicks, trying to squeeze Italy, and it worked until Italy made a breakaway, an absolutely awesome try from Lorenzo Pani. A great sweeping attack off first phase, ball through the hands, deception, running lines, and the break. And Pani should right. It was a great step and a great finish from Lorenzo Pani. He should never score this try. What is Rio Dyer doing? He's got his hands on him and he doesn't tackle him. Josh Adams, meanwhile, looks like he's jogging off the pitch rather than an international winger trying to tackle another back three player. I mean, shocking, absolutely shocking, but a fantastic finish. I don't know where you stand. Good celebration, bad celebration, doing the old Ronaldo. Each to his own. He's a 21-year-old lad. He's just scored an international try. He can do what he wants. So, yeah, he looks a class act, by the way. Big boot on him as well. I like Lorenzo Pani. Bearing in mind we're missing the little rugby pixie Ange Capowazzo. All good. And at 18-0, you thought, right, well, that's kind of game over. And especially when Sam Costello missed touch for a third time, I think it was. And, yeah. But Mason Grady came on. And you thought, okay, maybe this will change things for Wales. And it did in the end. But initially, Mason Grady just picked up where Nick Tompkins had left off, knocking on with his first touch, giving a high tackle away with his first tackle. And it was just comical. Stephen Varney for Italy was the pick of the Welsh Nines. Although Thomas Williams, actually, he was one of the few Welsh players that... he was the best Welshman on the park, to be honest. And there weren't a lot of positives. But the Italian defence was absolutely brilliant, especially the rearguard defence in their own 22. An amazing tackle by Ross Vincent when he came on to keep things there and to prevent Thomas Williams actually from scoring a try. Then there was a try. There was a good moment of like common sense refereeing, the Pani and Grady head collision. And this is one thing, right? So the TMOs and bunker and all that gets a bit of criticism. The TMO flagged it up to the referee. You might want to have a look at this head collision. The referee had a look at it and went, rugby incident, play on. Fine, great. I'm happy with that. And then the assistant referee gets on and goes, actually, I don't agree with you, Matthew. I think you should look again. The referee made a decision. Shut up, assistant referee. Your job is done. Move on. So sometimes rugby doesn't help itself. But anyway, right decision came to. Ross Vincent made a great tackle on Thomas Williams. But Elliot Dee managed to score soon afterwards with a try after it went to the TMO. But then 2 penalties, one from Garbisi, one from Paige Rello. 24 points to 7 with 10 minutes left. Game over. But Will Rowland scored a try. Mason Grady scored a try at the end to make it 21-24. Italy will probably be disappointed with the last 10 minutes of the game. Wales will probably look at the last 10 minutes of the game and say, why didn't we act with a little bit more urgency and direction earlier in the match? But truthfully, the game was already won. Italy were by far the better team, and it is absolutely brilliant to see that man just orchestrated things brilliantly for Italy. Wales are missing a top-notch fly half massively, and Italy are benefiting from one who's playing really, really well. Such an important position. Once again, cannot end this video without saying what a fantastic career George North. Not the way it deserved to end, but you can kind of understand why he might actually be going, do you know what? I've done my shift. I'll leave it to someone else from here. Warren Gatland, meanwhile, has got some questions to answer, and that's one of the things I'm curious about. How are Wales fans, how are you feeling about this Welsh team, about Warren Gatland now? 5 defeats from 5. Early in the competition, when you had all these young guys and you were playing some ambitious rugby, it's easy to kind of go, okay, well, we're building for the future. But now, after that, particularly the first half against Italy, some of those players look like they didn't want to be there or maybe hadn't played rugby before. But the final word has to go to Italy. Absolutely brilliant to see. Bearing in mind where they were at the Rugby World Cup, bearing in mind all the talk, and I've questioned Italy and where they're going and what the direction is. Gonzalo Quesada's given them a defensive steal. They've got some really important players in key positions, and they've got something they can really build on, and an under-20 side bringing players through that look class as well. So that is great for the Six Nations. Well done, Italy. Game 1 of Super Saturday done. More to come. So hit subscribe on the channel, give the video a thumbs up, and leave your comment down below.